Okay, January this year, 2024. Okay, and then you came in Canada January 2024. And what kind of work? Mm, okay, okay. Hanggang kailan yung status mo? Wow, very good. At least you still have time, and then you're actually on top of whatever you're doing right now. Okay. So okay, kasi ganito, ang housekeeper is nasa tier 4. Now, if the housekeeper is in tier 4, presently walang pathway for PR. Not unless yes, walang pathway for PR ang housekeeping. Ngayon, unless na gusto mong PNP or whatever, kung anong klaseng PNP dyan sa province ninyo, kapag ka-open siya. So, ngayon, you're only 9 months. So, I would recommend na siguro ligawan mo muna yung employer mo, be nice, give your best sa kanila. So, para nang sa ganon, after 1 year, perhaps mag-open yung PNP. Pwede kang any kind of PNP dyan sa inyo na pwedeng mag-open. Then after 1 year, pwede ka nang mag-apply ng permanent residency through that pathway. Now, kapag that pathway is usually that pathway is going to qualify you as a housekeeper diyan sa Dawson, 'di ba? Anong ano 'yan? Province? Dawson what? Sa BC yan. Okay. Yeah, kapag ka BC PNP, baka pagka nag-open. Kasi right now, open man or close, hindi ka pa pwede because you're only 9 months experience. You only has 9 months experience. So, wala din. So, I would recommend ganito. Give your best to your employer, and then after that, magpa-job offer ka or whatever requirement na kailangan ng company for you to be able to apply after 1 year. After 1 year, BCPNP, or pwede ka rin ang PR pathway ng housekeeping, pwede ka rin na mag-apply ng Canada Experience Class. So those are the option na para sa iyo. However, hindi natin alam kung ilan yung makukuha mong English exam. You need to get an English exam. You need to get a assessment dun sa either West or sa IQAS or what kind of third party, whatever kind of third party na ina-allow ng immigration for you to be able to assess your foreign credential. And also, anong natapos mo? What did you finish? What course you finished? What's your profession back in the Philippines? Okay, okay, all right, okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kapag ka, ano ba, saang school ka ba? So, hindi siya, tawag dito, hindi siya recognized ng school? You know what? Try mo pa rin. I know that your transcript of record, hindi siya recognized ng school, then try mo pa rin. Mag-try ka pa rin. So what you can do, register ka sa IQAS or sa WES. Anong ilang taon yung di mo natapos? Mhm. So 2 years tapos pero incomplete, I know it's incomplete, pero mayroon pa ring transcript of records, di ba? Okay, so kailangan mong magpa-assess ka pa rin kasi whether we like it or not, when we apply for permanent residency under economic class, kasi what you have is under economic class, then you have no other choice but to actually go through with those English exam at saka IQAS. Okay, yun yung option mo, okay? Another option, because you are undergraduate, hindi mataas konti yung yung natapos, kasi we are looking on PNP or Canada experience class. We need educational background, we need English exam. Now I would suggest, since you are under work permit, I would suggest na maghanap ka, okay? Ito yung mas maganda. Maghanap ka ng look for a job that has a permanent residency pathway. And you know what is that? It is a caregiver pathway. Because you have the work permit right now, yes, I know it is nice. I don't know how nice to work in a hotel, but it's nice that you have your work permit, so you are exempted sa mga yung mga restriction ng hindi na pwedeng i-process ang LMIA na pwedeng mag-apply dito. Those are the restriction that is intended, those are the restriction that are intended sa mga tourist visa holder. However, pwede ka pa rin naman. Pwede ka dahil you are holding a work permit. So I would recommend you can as a housekeeper, okay? As a housekeeper, dahil walang PR pathway presently, I would recommend get into the caregiver program. Then doing that caregiver program, what you can do is to find an employer na pwedeng mag-offer sa iyo ng work permit. And getting that work permit, you need that employer to give you that labor market impact assessment. Ganon. Pwede yon, okay? So, at least yun yung yun yung plans mo, kasi you don't wanna you don't wanna lose your status after, yes, you came 2024, and then matatapos yung status mo January 2026, and then what if yung employer mo sasabihin niya na hindi ka na namin i-extend. The problem right now, ang mga companies, they don't tell you right away. Sabihin na nating traitor sila, pero they wanna look after they wanna look after themselves. So ayaw nila, they don't want to let you know, kasi when they tell you that they are letting you go, of course you will gonna lose your interest to work, you're gonna lose your inspiration to actually give your best, and maybe aalis ka, you will resign, kasi nga you don't have future with them. So that's what happened. So they can be traitor, but they are looking after themselves. Ganyan naman ang mga company dito, honestly. But what you're doing right now is to seeking how and what's the right way for you to be able to get into that permanent residency pathway. So you have option. So, but whether we like it or not, as what I've said, every time we apply for permanent residency under economic class, we need to get an English exam, and we need that WES. Pwede yun. Kailangan yun, okay? So far, yun ang alam ko na, the best option. So you have a lot of option, but the best one is that since you are a work permit holder, and sa BC, PNP, is sometimes it opens, but what if hindi ka na imbitahan? If you were gonna ask me professionally, I would recommend for you to get into the caregiver program. Yeah. So, yun ang kailangan mo. Yeah, go ahead. See my skill, well, it depends. As what I've said, pag naimbitahan ka, okay, pagka nabigyan ka ng opportunity to apply for invitation to apply, yun ang tawag. Pag naimbitahan ka, yes, you can. The problem right now that we have is that hindi ka bachelor degree. So yung pool, parang ang hirap makakuha nun. And then what if hindi nag-offer ng job offer yung or hindi nag-support ng job offer yung company? Ang hirap kasi kapag ka company, The thing is that hindi siya personalized, kumbaga trabaho lang, parang ganon. So ang mangyayari niyan, yung company, since madaming nag-a-apply at marami silang hinahire, then at the end of the day, parang, oh, okay, you can go or you can stay, it doesn't matter. Kaya nga, what I was recommending, honestly, is to get into that caregiver program. Pag nakahanap ka ng employer who can offer you LMIA, but wag kang bibili ng LMIA. Don't reach that point that you will be buying LMIA 20,000, 30,000. Oh my goodness, for God's sake. You don't want to actually get into those things. And then, kasi ang dami. Maraming mga agency, there are a lot of agencies who are actually selling LMIA. They want you to pay for that for the rest of your life. And then they would say, oh, don't worry, installment naman eh. You can pay 20,000 para masuportahan yung PR mo. But don't you know that when you get that LMIA, there's no assurance. Wala pang assurance yon. So yun ang pinaka main thing for you to be able to get into that permanent residency pathway na sure is to go ahead and get a caregiver program. Mhm. Ano pang tanong mo? Yeah, go ahead. Mhm. Um, it depends. Kapag may asawa ka, okay. So what do you mean hindi kayo bate? You tell me. What is it? Kasi it's really very important na, when you have a spouse na strange or separated kayo, sa mata ng law sa Pilipinas, you are still married. Now, since nandito ka, hindi kayo bate, that means it's light. Ano yan, separate, or you're just having some kind of like, lover's quarrel? Hello? Hello? Well, I really hope, guys, that there will gonna be a caregiver program that will be opening this coming fall or January 1, 2025. If you are going to seek for a caregiver program, make sure that you're ready, you're prepared with with everything that you needed to prepare. So honestly, get your English exam, get your educational assessment based on Canadian standard. So, yeah, that's important. Wala. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Okay. So, ano na ulit yung question mo? Ilan ang anak nyo? Okay. So, how old are your kids? Okay, they're still young, 13 and 11. And how about what is the real condition? I want to know. Hindi bate or talagang separated? What do you mean parang? I need to know if it is really like talagang separated, or is there any chance to get reconciled, or na maayos yung relationship niyo, or wala na talaga? Okay. So kung wala na talaga, then that's the only option for you since nandito ka sa Canada, because pagka halimbawa na nag-apply ka ng permanent residency, kailangan ma-examine din ang mga lahat ng family members. Family members are your, yung mga anak mo and also your spouse. So those are your family members, your dependents. So, I would recommend, so if it's really not going to fix, or it's not gonna be, you will not gonna be reunited with your spouse, for you not to get delayed with your permanent residency application eventually, then I would recommend that you file for a divorce. You can do divorce in Canada with your spouse, even though he doesn't understand what's going on, because it's not, you're already separated. I'm a family person. That's why I'm asking you, is there any chance to be reconciled? Is there any chance to actually, forgive that person? But if there's none, then definitely, in order for you to protect yourself when you apply for permanent residency, you have to file a divorce. The reason behind is that you don't want to get a pending application, delay the application for permanent residency, because they will gonna, if he is part of your family member, they will gonna ask him to get his NBI or police clearance. They're gonna ask him to take a medical exam, whether he will come with you or not. So I am recommending you go for a divorce. Right now, I believe you can go to the munisipyo, dyan sa malapit sa Dawson. Then you can actually file a divorce. Okay? You can try kasi it's not gonna ano naman, sabi nila yes, wala ka pang 1 year, but go ahead kasi nga hindi naman, you go and inquire, kasi hindi naman agad-agad they will process that. There's a lot of back and forth, coming back and forth dun sa munisipyo. And when you go to the municipality, you have to ask, you can ask the clerk there if where is the place where you can actually file for that. As what I've said, the reason is that you want to protect your process for immigration purposes and your permanent residency. So yun. And also ito pa, divorce or not, your spouse has to actually assign a form that he is allowing your kids to come here in Canada someday when they actually when you apply for permanent residency. I hope he will sign. Mhm. Bakit ano ba siya, ano ba siya, mayaman ba siya sa Pilipinas? I understand. Yeah. Well, okay. So this is what you do the divorce, and then some, in terms of your anak, what you can do is get your permanent residency. Pwede kang mag-apply ng permanent residence without them, but you declare them as your family member. Okay, now once they turn 18, then you don't need the signature of your spouse. Pwede ka nang mag-sponsor sa kanila as a family class. Okay, the only thing is that well, hindi ka pa naman PR. So maybe, who knows, when will that gonna happen? But I would recommend, kasi the process of PR is long. When you get in, because of the pandemic and backlog, that will gonna take at least, let's say, 2 to 3 years, unfortunately, that when you apply for permanent residency. Ang tagal. So, pag naka-18 na yung anak mo na isa, when you apply for PR, then you can include him to come, or her to come to Canada. Include sa application. Pero pag hindi pa sila 18 and your spouse doesn't wanna sign, divorce or not, then they cannot come here. So madidelay yung application mo for PR. So I would suggest, then pwedeng declare them, but you can actually, after declaring, di mo muna sila isasama, don't let them come here. Pagka naging PR ka na, after nagka-18 sila, you can sponsor these people. I mean, these kids, okay? So, pwede naman. Basta make sure that you declare. Now, I wanna know also, when you enter Canada, what did you declare? Married ka ba? Separate? What did you declare? Married, very good. At least alam mo na, you're legally, you're still married although you're separated. Okay? I know. I think it's difficult to go for annulment. I knew people, they done with this annulment, but it is so difficult. So I think the best option, since you are inside Canada, you have to apply for a divorce. Now, make no mistake to get into those people that who are divorce lawyer, kasi at the end, itong mga divorce lawyer, they're just gonna make a lot of money from you. So what you can do, go to the munisipyo, then you can you can ask them kung paano mag-file. Kasi munisipyo, then the clerk will give to the judge. Ganun lang naman eh. But there are some lawyers who can actually give you an opportunity to file for that. Mayroon akong kilala, 500. I'm not related or connected to that person. He doesn't even know me, but he is a lawyer. So $500 for a divorce. So mura lang naman. Okay? So yeah, so ano bang, pero ako, if I were you, to make it into the shortcut situation para hindi masyadong complicated ang pag-PR application mo, you have a work permit, go and find an employer who can offer you a caregiver program, which is kasi magpa-LMIA ka sa kanila kasi naka-close work permit ka, then once you finish up that 6 months experience, magpa-WES ka, take the English exam. Actually right now, take the English exam. It's only 4. Mag-CELPIP ka. CELPIP is more highly recommendable. Ilan nakuha mo? Ilan? Malaki na yun. Hindi ka naman bumaba ng 4. So if I were you, get into that caregiver program, at least ikaw, pag naka 6 months ka lang as a nanny or as a caregiver. But as what I've said, never, ever, ever buy LMIA. Okay? Okay. So, yeah, so yun yung pinaka-option. Pero still you work as a housekeeper. Still you work within the company. But at least while looking for an opportunity to be under the caregiver program, then that's what you get in. Pero still, I'm glad that you still have a work permit. I'm glad that you still have the status until Jan 2026. I'm glad that you have a work. Okay, so those are the those are your edge in terms of whatever conditions, whatever restrictions that's going on in the immigration right now. So you're okay, you're fine. Ano pa? Mm-hmm. Okay. The problem is if you are a domestic helper anywhere in the world, I still don't see the PR pathway. When you are applying for a job as a housekeeper, yes, maybe there's a bearing with that for you to be able to get that work permit. It is work permit that you're applying. But we're talking about permanent residency. Unfortunately, it is no bearing. There's no effect with your experience back in your in any country within 3 years, because it is it is a housekeeper, or pero but if there is an opportunity that you have an experience as a nanny or as caregiver overseas, then when the caregiver program opens up, you could be able to get an employer who can give you a job offer, and then now that's a different story because you are not a caregiver program, hindi ka naman naging nanny, di ba? So wala din. So it's not counted. You cannot count that. And then if we talk about the PNP express entry, it is a weak case, honestly. Hindi, I don't even recommend because of your educational background, because the experience is tier 4. It is not something that they will consider for you to get that invitation to apply for a invitation to get into that permanent residency. So that's why I'm saying that is your experience back in your home country. You can only use that when you're applying to your employer because they will see you have experience. You can only use that when you are applying for an for the tier 4 or whatever you have right now. But we are not looking into that. You have to look on the permanent pathway, which is, that's what I am saying. Since you have a work permit as a housekeeper, I'd highly recommend to get into that caregiver program pathway by getting an employer with LMIA, and then change your housekeeper to caregiver or nanny position. Then once you get into that caregiver or nanny, the rule presently is that you work for 6 months as a full-time caregiver or nanny, then you could be able to apply for permanent residency together with your family, but when it opens. Right now, it's not open yet. But you have time. You have until January 2026, you have time. So you have time, you get your English exam, you get your WES or pa-assess mo, you assess your educational background, foreign educational background. Then after that, you could be able to apply for a caregiver program and then permanent residency eventually. That is the best way and best option that you have right now. Don't worry about the BC, PNP, or express entry. It is really, I don't wanna, I'm sorry to say it, but it will gonna be a weak case, okay? The reason is that, yung educational background and your experience is nasa tier 4. If only your experience is higher than tier 4, then maybe you have a shot. But again, the challenge is your educational background. Although I like to hear that you got a very like a higher English exam, that you get that result, that's good. Keep that, but that is only good for 2 years. So make sure that before you lost your status Jan 2026, I hope that they will renew your extension for work permit. Pero work permit and work permit ka na lang. There's no way of getting into that permanent residency pool. And so that's why we go back to being a caregiver or nanny, because caregiver and nanny is a special permit for anybody, any foreign national, to get into that permanent residency pathway without the invitation to apply. You complete that 6 months as a caregiver or as a nanny, then that's it. You're okay. You can get in to apply for permanent residency once it opens. But as what I've said, I always say to everyone, never, ever, ever buy an LMIA. Marami kasi dyan, mga manluloko na nagtitinda ng LMIA, and you don't even know if this LMIA is legitimate, if this LMIA is real, because they even make up a create an LMIA, and then they will say, oh, don't contact the employer, ako ang ko-contact, sabi nila. But never allow that. You have to learn how to communicate with the employers, kasi the reason is that you don't know if it is really real. You don't, kaya nga you have to, like, they show you an LMIA or contract, there are phone numbers there that's not even usable. There are phone numbers there or email address there that is not even in there. So be careful. They create a lot right now because of, I don't know, because of the technology. I think it become like napaka high tech, and then pati utak nila high tech just to make money from other people. Yeah. So yun, ano bang question? What else? What kind of clarification pa in order for you to get into that permanent residency pathway eventually? Ang LMI sa BCPNP, you know what? You can add up that 50 points. But again, yes, you can put all those things. It will gonna weaken the application because of your educational background. Mm-hmm. So I would recommend, sabi ko nga, I know you wanted to get in, but what if you're hopeful that you will gonna get that invitation to apply? What if they did not invite you, and here comes January 2026, natapos na yung work permit mo, you lost your status, you go back to LMIA again, you go back to, magiging yo-yo na yung application mo, or sometimes the worst case scenario, you apply for tourist visa because you lost your status. You don't want that. So, from the moment na, narinig mo ako, that's what you should do. I'm sorry to say to those companies na nag-provide ng housekeeper. The problem is, I really wish that the federal government will change it. For every housekeeper or tier 4 or 5, they will gonna, except for caregiver, they will also issue permanent residency pathway for all of you guys. But the problem is they only say it. Hindi nila ginagawa. They say it but they don't do it. So, yeah. What else? Wow, ang galing. You're not even 1 year and you're looking after your pathway for permanent residency already. Very good. Yung ate mo may papel ba dito? PR na siya? Mm, okay. Okay. Yeah, I know. I understand. And also, I know that that is actually something that you need to consider. But again, yung ate mo, ano bang pathway niya when she got her permanent residence? Mm-hmm. 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 I believe it's a lot of ano, I know it's may mga there are some BCPNP pathway sa mga application, but still you can go for it, but wait for it until maka-apply makapag 1 year ka. You can still try to get into those pathway, especially malakas pala yung kapatid mo dun sa ano sa company. Then I think there's a good relationship with that, but still you can try to go for PNP application. I believe your sister will gonna say no, don't go for any caregiver program, dito ka lang, masisira ko pangalan ko and everything. But again, at least alam mo yung option mo, okay? This is not a sugar-coated advice for you. You know your option. Yes, there's no, I know that, it's part of it, the BCPNP, you can apply online, register interest to apply, something like that. And then, who knows, maimbitahan ka. Usually, may mga code doon na pwede kang ano, and then, since, yun yung gusto mong makita, then you can create your or register sa BCPNP. Okay, you can register. But you mhm. Usually yung educational background mo. Yeah. Mm-mm. So, pwede ka namang ano, you can always get into that place wherein you can also update yourself. But it's a long shot kapag ka ganun ang gawin mo when you go and get into that invitation to apply for BCPNP. Maraming options, skill immigration, entrepreneur immigration, hindi ka naman pwede sa entrepreneur sa yung mga nominees pwede rin. Marami kang option eh. So what I can suggest is that get into those yung skill. Pwede namang skill, pero I don't think that may bearing yung importante talaga kasi yung educational, magpa-west ka muna. You get into that assessment kasi we can never know until they assess that, okay? Pero at least you know your options, okay? Tapos na? Okay. Sige. Okay. All right. Thank you for coming in. I'm glad that I was able to let you know and inform you kung ano yung dapat. At the end of the day, protect yourself. It's not anyone else kasi ito yung ano mo yung future mo, especially para sa mga anak mo. Very good, at least mayroon ka ng English exam, and but I know it's still until 2026. But make no mistake na maging at peace ka. You have to find a way for you to get into that PR pathway eventually. And I'm glad that your employer or your malakas ka dyan sa mga employer, then kasi they will never actually support you kapag hindi ka malakas sa kanila. But I think you are because of your connections. Okay? You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye-bye. God bless you too. Bye-bye. Okay, so there you go, guys. I think that's the one that I just want to wrap up. She came here in Canada this year. She doesn't have 1 year experience yet as a housekeeper. The only problem is that she did not actually finish up her educational background or bachelor degree. So it weakens her application for PR eventually. So, I think there's a shot. Maybe she can get another way of getting into the permanent residency pathway. However, the only option is that I'm saying, it is the best way for this person. She has a work permit, is to find a caregiver program, because it is only 6 months for you to get into that PR pathway. She doesn't have experience as a nanny or caregiver back in her outside Canada, and she also doesn't have a caregiver program here. But since she is a work permit holder, she could be able to get into that LMIA, BCPNP, where she is right now. So that means she can still go for the low wage, because BCPNP is the restriction there is not applied, because they have a less than 6% unemployment rate there. So that's a good thing. The problem with BCPNP is that when you apply, you need a certificate to hire a foreign national. Ibig sabihin, that means it will take at least 8 months for them to get that certificate, because there's a lot of people who are applying. And after that, then they could be able to advertise and apply for LMIA eventually, whatever LMIA that they needed to do. BC or Vancouver or anywhere in British Columbia, they need that certificate to apply to hire a foreign national. So that's it, everyone. Uh, I'm seeing some information here. Yes, Denver. I am more than really. I did education in Canada, work in Canada as caregiver over 3 years, and I have my IL-7. Then Denver, wait for it. Permanent residency will gonna be opening. You are right. Maybe this fall or winter. You are right. And or January 1, 2025, they usually open there. So hi, namaste. I am from India. Hi, all of you. If you want to come here in Canada, you need an employer to offer you LMIA or job offer. However, please, I warn everyone, don't buy LMIA. There are a lot of people who are selling LMIA for at least 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, and even 30,000 for you to get into that application. But don't get into that. Make no mistake in agreeing for that guide, even if it is installment, because you're not even sure if it get approved. There's no assurance. Not because you get your LMIA, you're already approved for your work permit or permanent residency. That's not the way. So, and be careful, because right now immigration are using AI or artificial intelligence. They can easily detect if it is a fake situation. Then, whether you like it or not, you know or not about that document, if it is fake, about that agency, if they are, they're not the right people, or they're not licensed, then it will come back to you as a foreign national and be misrepresented and be banned for 5 years. So be careful, everyone. Um, don't go for it. Please, don't and never ever buy LMIA. It's not an assurance for you to get a work permit. It is not an assurance for you to get into that permanent residency pathway. Don't, never. These people are doing it and operating it. They're even licensees. They're even immigration lawyers. They're even consultants, licensed consultant. They are selling LMIA. But do you know what? That these consultants, or even ghost consultants, they go and talk to that employer a lot of times, and they offer money as well. It's kind of like, hey, let's sell LMIA and let's split the money from this foreign national. And unfortunately, when they got your money, they will gonna find a way that if the immigration rule changes, they will say, oh no, it changed already, we can't do anymore. Then your money is gone, and it is difficult to get that money back. I don't see it. It's maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road. You're just gonna get into that attention from the government for you to get that help, for you to get that assessment or even investigation. But it's gone. Your future is gone. And the worst case scenario, if you deal with them, you are gonna be misrepresenting yourself and be banned in Canada. So don't go for that. That's what I always say to everyone. Yes, we can be desperate in coming to Canada by buying LMIA, but no, that's a no go. Love yourself. It's impossible for you to go for that, but I don't understand why there are a lot of people buying that LMIA. Chinese people, Indian people, because they have money, they can sell their properties, and that's how it goes. Then they get into that permanent residency, but again, it is not an assurance. You still have to go through the immigration. Okay. So there you go, everyone. Good luck, and thank you for coming in. I have another meeting, and later I'll come back again.